50-year mortgages are coming to America. When they launch, home prices will explode as new buying power floods the market. But here's what the banks won't tell you. The real trade isn't waiting for these loans to arrive. It's buying now with a 30-year mortgage to front-run the herd, then selling into the mania. This exact pattern created 100-year mortgages in Tokyo and crashed the US housing market in 2008. Millions lost everything. But investors who understood the timing made fortunes. Bold claim, right? Buy into a bubble before it fully inflates. If you're trying to understand how 50-year mortgages will reshape housing, or you're wondering whether to buy now or wait, this pattern has played out twice in the last 40 years, and both times, the people who understood the timing won while everyone else got crushed. The first time, Tokyo, in the 1980s. In 1985, Tokyo housing was already expensive from years of loose monetary policy and speculation. The smart money recognized this and bought with conventional loans, positioning themselves early. By 1987, prices had risen so much that the average person was completely priced out. Traditional mortgages couldn't bridge the gap anymore. So in late 1987 to 1988, banks introduced 100-year, 3-generation mortgages. Your grandchildren would inherit your debt, but it cut monthly payments in half. People who couldn't afford homes suddenly could if they were willing to mortgage their grandchildren's future. And they convinced themselves it made sense. At least I'm building equity. At least I own something. It's better than renting. That's when prices went truly parabolic. New buying power flooded the market. By 1988 to 1989, prices were increasing 20% per year. Over the entire decade, homes surged 6 to 7 times, with the most extreme gains happening after the 100-year mortgages launched. By 1989, everyone believed Tokyo real estate would go up forever. But here's the trap. The first 20 years of a 100-year mortgage is almost all interest. You're not building equity, you're renting from the bank. And by the time these mortgages became widespread, prices were already at the peak. But the smart money, the ones who got in 1985 to 1987, were never planning to hold for 100 years. They weren't even planning to hold for 10. By 1989, they'd watched their homes appreciate 6 to 7 times. Think about that. It's like buying a house for $250,000 and selling it for more than $1 million. The mania was peaking. The herd believed Tokyo real estate would go up forever. That's when the smart money sold. One famous case, a Tokyo investor sold his apartment at the 1989 peak and bought 5 apartments in New York City. He still owns them today. The people buying in 1989 with 100-year mortgages, they thought they were finally getting their chance. Prices will never be this low again. I have to buy now. They were wrong. Prices crashed 70% within a year. When the crash came, it wasn't a slow decline, it was a free fall. The people who bought in 1989 to 1990 with 100-year mortgages couldn't sell, couldn't refinance. They were stuck. And when you died, your kids took over payments on a house worth half what you paid. Some families are still paying off those mortgages. 35 years later, Japan entered what they called the lost decades. Wages stopped growing, careers stalled. An entire generation never built wealth. The difference between winners and losers? 2 years. The winners sold in 1989. The losers bought in 1989 and 1990, thinking home values only went up. Just 2 years made the difference between generational wealth and generational debt. That's the Tokyo pattern. Now, if this was just a Tokyo story, you could dismiss it. Cultural anomaly, different economy. But it's not. The exact same pattern played out in America 20 years later. By 2003, housing was overpriced. Lenders introduced exotic financing, allowing more people to qualify for home loans. Subprime ARMs, interest-only loans, ninja loans, meaning no income, no job, no assets, no problem. Some people got lucky, bought in 2003 to 2004 with conventional mortgages because that's when they needed a house. Others saw the pattern coming and positioned early. Either way, they locked in before the surge. Then exotic financing went mainstream. In some markets, prices surged 40% in 2 years. Checkout ladies at grocery stores were getting their real estate licenses. House flipping shows dominated TV. People were getting rich brokering home loans. Everyone believed they'd found easy money. The ones who got out, that wasn't luck. That was discipline. They sold in 2005 to 2006, right at the peak. Late buyers, teachers, nurses, small business owners bought in 2006 to 2007 with subprime loans. By 2008, millions foreclosed, lost homes, jobs, businesses. I know a guy who bought a house in a nice suburb of Orange County in 2005, had a successful pool construction company, lost the house in 2008, lost the business at the same time. The financial stress destroyed his marriage, divorced within a year. He's in his late 40s now, working for $20 an hour. Never bounced back. Who bought his foreclosed house? A wealthy lawyer who was picking up properties with cash. Same pattern, same outcome. And now the same setup is happening again. So, where are we right now in this cycle? 50-year mortgages are being floated. That's the signal. We're entering phase 2, the surge phase, when they pass the mortgage terms, and they will. An army of freshly qualified buyers will flood the market. Prices will surge, just like Tokyo and America before. The people who wait a couple years to buy with 50-year mortgages, they'll be the late buyers. They'll get trapped. The front-run window is open right now, but it won't stay open long. So why don't more people execute when they see the pattern? Because here's what makes this hard. You're living it in real time. When you read about Tokyo 1989 or America 2008, everything is predetermined. You know exactly when the peak happened, when the crash came, how long it lasted. Right now, you don't know any of that. New legislation could kick the collapse down the road another 2 to 3 years. The surge could last longer than you expect, or it could end tomorrow. Bubbles can drag on for years longer than anyone anticipates, or they can pop overnight. You'll be sitting in a house you bought to flip, watching prices climb, thinking, maybe I should hold just one more year. And that's when most people get trapped. You might think you're different, but history tells a different story. The Tokyo buyers in 1988 saw the same pattern. The American buyers in 2006 saw the same pattern. They also thought they'd execute correctly. Most of them still got wiped out because timing isn't just important, it's everything. 2 years early, you make millions. 2 years late, you're bankrupt. For every investor who made millions, there were dozens who lost it all. Same pattern in America. That's how bubbles work. Someone always holds the bag. But here's what they don't tell you. The bag holders are a feature, not a bug. The system needs them. So let's be clear about who the bad guy is in this story. It's the government and lenders setting millions of people up for catastrophic failure. They know how this ends. They have the same history books we do. Tokyo, 1987. America, 2005. They know 50-year mortgages will create a temporary surge followed by generational devastation, but they're doing it anyway. Why? Because existing homeowners vote and they need high prices to move. Because banks make massive profits on these loans. Because politicians need to say they solved the housing crisis before the next election. They're choosing short-term political wins over long-term economic stability. And here's the part that makes it truly evil. They'll market these 50-year mortgages as helping people achieve the American dream. They'll put teachers, nurses, and construction workers in front of cameras, talking about how they finally bought a home. Those people will be the casualties in 5 years. The system will destroy them, then pretend it was unforeseeable. Just like they did in Tokyo, just like they did in 2008. So that's the pattern. Government and lenders create the trap. Early buyers profit, late buyers get destroyed. But most people who see this pattern still can't execute it. Not because they don't understand it, because when year 3 comes and prices are still climbing, they hold for just 1 more year. So let me ask you directly, can you sell your dream home in 3 years when it's time to exit? Can you hold for 10 years if you're wrong about the timing? Do you have 20% down plus 12 months of emergency reserves? If you answered no to any of these, this trade isn't for you. The front run only works if you are prepared to execute. The pattern is repeating right now. The front run window is open. But discipline is what separates the winners from the losers. If this video showed you something the financial media won't talk about, hit that like button and subscribe to Money History X, where we follow the money, no matter how uncomfortable it gets.